Do you need specific Qigong exercises for your specific problems? We'll talk about that in today's Walk and Talk. I'm Sifu Anthony, and I'm here at Dixon Lake, somewhere in Southern California. I'm at a campground. It's absolutely beautiful. The sun is up, and there's this beautiful lake here. It's quite bright in some spots, so there will be some glare. I apologize. I'll do my best. We'll go on a walk and talk and explore together. I've, of course, got my co-pilot here, Sergeant Pepper. Do you say hi? So this topic is a big one. It's something that I've written blog posts about. It's something that I've been talking about for years, and I imagine I will be talking about it for years. So I want to just talk about it from a few different angles as we walk together. So I get this question all the time, and you can imagine that it happens for every different condition, every different problem, from back pain to depression to more rare conditions to digestive disorders. The question is always the same, but with their specific problem. So the question is, which Qigong exercises should I practice for this? And I have a bit of a different approach to this, which still surprises me. I don't know why my approach is different, and I'll talk about that. But the standard response I guess people get from a lot of different Qigong teachers is, okay, well, try this exercise, or this exercise is good for this, or this exercise is good for that. And it's not untrue. Certainly I can go through the exercises, the Qigong exercises that I teach, and say, well, yes, this is better for opening up the lung meridian or whatever. I know the correlations of the different exercises, but my stance is that this is not useful. And maybe it's because I come from a different place, because Qigong saved my life. And I'm on a mission here to help people get very powerful results with the art. So I'm sort of partnered with my students in this goal to get results. I'm there with them. I have a lot of contact with my students. I know my students by name, and part of it is I don't want to give you junk food, sort of. Like I want to give you real nutrition, because I know you'll come back to me. If I give you a cursory answer, or it's an answer that's not the full truth, then you're not going to get the results that you need, and you're going to come back to me, and that's not what I want. That's not why I do this. I want you to get results. So let me explain, first of all, why the standard answer is not enough. The main reason is that if we simply match Qigong exercises to symptoms, so back pain is a symptom, then some examples of symptoms. Back pain, pain anywhere in the body is a symptom. Let's say you're bloated, that's a symptom. Let's say you have anxiety is a symptom, right? They may also be disorders in the Western perspective, but from a Chinese medical perspective, they are just symptoms. And anytime that we are simply matching Qigong exercises, or for that matter, any kind of treatment modality, if we are simply matching the treatment to the symptoms, then it's really not Chinese medicine. That's not how Chinese medicine works. And when we're dealing with Qigong, we're dealing with Chinese medicine. So you can see the mist suddenly has creeped up. That's the lake out there in the background. I suddenly can't see it. There's all this mist off the lake. It's incredible. So again, if we are matching, sort of like a cookbook, if we are matching the prescriptions, the exercises, or the treatment protocols, it doesn't matter if it's herbs or acupuncture or whatnot, if we are simply matching that to our symptoms, then it's not Chinese medicine. And here's why. The fundamental principle in Chinese medicine is that each person is unique and they have to be treated as an individual. They are not just a diagnosis, they are not a symptom. In Chinese medicine, we try to get to the root of the problem. So whether it's acupuncture, herbology, Qigong, or other modalities, you're not just masking the symptoms. So yes, it's important to treat the pain. If you've got pain, like let's use back pain as the example. If you've got back pain, it's important to treat that, but it's more important to get to the bottom of things, to treat the underlying cause, what we would call the root cause of the problem. So a simple explanation for this is that if you've ever had acupuncture and if you've got a problem or pain in an area, the needles don't just go in that area because the problem is not just in that area, right? So your elbow pain is not just in your elbow, it's your whole system. And so acupuncture is very complex. Your energy system is complex, so the needles need to go in many locations because we're not just treating the elbow, we're treating the whole system, we're treating your meridians, it might be your liver meridian or something else. And it's not just that one thing either. So this is what's a little harder to understand, is that your conditions are not separate. They all work together in a complex way that is very challenging to figure out. So you know, very few people have just one problem. Like for me, it wasn't just back pain. It was back pain and depression and anxiety and chronic fatigue. And they're all related. They all flow together. And from a Chinese medical view, it's very hard to just treat one of those things. We have to get to the bottom of it. Then on top of those issues I listed, we have other factors. We have my age, we have my personality, we have sort of things that, like my body type, all of these things, all of these factors come into play with Chinese medicine. This is all part of treating the individual as opposed to treating the symptoms. So we're at this little, let's see. Can you see? This is like a little inlet here. There's the lake. You can see it. There's all this mist over the lake, which is pretty good for shooting, but I'm sorry you can't see the lake. I'm sure we'll get a shot of it later. Come on, Starge. We're not going down there. Okay, so that's the overview of why there's a problem here of just matching. So if you have back pain and I say do this exercise, then I'm just using a cookbook approach. All I'm doing is throwing, it's like, it's like a cross-reference. I'm just matching exercises to symptoms. And that is not Chinese medicine. Even, I do prescribe exercises, but I shy away from it. And when I do, I really need to get to the bottom of it. I really need to know what's going on. That's Chinese medicine too, is I need to ask a lot of questions. There needs to be a diagnostic of sorts. Now, I'm a teacher, not a clinician, so I'm not really doing a diagnostic anyway. I mean, it's something that I would recommend you go get from an acupuncturist. Then you have a Chinese diagnosis, and it might be something very confusing, like a common diagnosis would be like liver qi stagnation. So that's not something that makes sense to us in the West. What is liver qi stagnation? Well, that's a Chinese medicine diagnosis, or that's one diagnosis. You might have several. So back to the topic, practicing specific exercises for specific problems. That is not how I teach. And it's mainly because it's just not going to serve you. It's not going to, what you want is to solve that problem, right? So it makes sense logically, if you want to solve this problem, then you should just practice these specific exercises. But that's not really how it works. I'm at a little bit of an end of a trail here. I'm going to go back. So if you want to get results, you have to resist this, and you have to understand where I'm coming from when I say, I try to basically get students away from this pattern of thinking. This is a very Western way of thinking. We think in terms of, this for that sort of cookbook approach. We think, this pill for that problem. That is not an Eastern way of thinking. And when it comes to Qigong, it really just doesn't work that way. So there are some things that really matter when it comes to Qigong, regardless of what your issues are, your specific issues are. This is the beautiful thing about Qigong, is that unlike other Chinese medicine modalities, we can take a very broad, holistic approach to it. And we can let the body's wisdom take over. So we don't need a firm diagnosis in Qigong. And this is a beautiful thing, because diagnostics are hard. So for years, I worked with acupuncturists and chiropractors, and they were excellent physicians, excellent diagnosticians, but even the best diagnosticians mess up, and what they would do is send me their problem cases. So for years, I received referrals from physicians who had these problem cases. They just couldn't get to the bottom of it. And Qigong is perfect for that because we don't need a diagnostic. So if they were wrong, if the physicians were wrong about their diagnostic a little bit, or they just miscalculated somehow, well, Qigong works beautifully because we don't need a diagnostic. The Qi will do the work. Your body's natural wisdom will start to do the healing. We're just kickstarting the entire body's healing system. Okay, so that's what I love about Qigong. It's empowering. We can do this work on our own, to ourselves, without a diagnostic. So when people run to try to, oh, let me use this exercise for that, that's a diagnostic. That's not the best part of Qigong, in my opinion. So we're lucky that Qigong is so holistic and can work without a diagnostic. So here are the things that really matter when students are asking me. And if I corner them, I get these answers over and over again when they say, oh, Sifu, which exercise should I practice for this? And I say, well, are you practicing? And when we drill down, they're not practicing enough. So their dosage, this is one thing that definitely matters, the dosage of your Qigong practice. They're not practicing enough. So the answer then is, well, practice the exercises that you enjoy, the ones that will make you want to practice. Because practicing an exercise that is not maybe ideal for your condition, but will encourage you to practice and get you to practice, is by far better. So let me be clear about that. Practicing the worst exercise in terms of matching it to your condition is better than not practicing the best exercise. Okay, so let's be clear about that. So dosage definitely matters. Quality of your practice definitely matters. So this is a big thing. I see this, especially in students who come from other schools that don't emphasize this. Especially more traditional teachers, they don't always tell you all the secrets to this stuff. But the quality of their practice is low. They basically just go through the motions. They practice Qigong on a very physical level. They don't practice something like our 5-phase routine, which just is very systematic in terms of addressing all the important internal aspects of Qigong, like entering Zen. That means you're getting into a meditative state of mind. Flowing breeze, swaying willow, we are allowing the Qi to circulate very freely. Things like this. So if you don't have something like the 5-phase routine, and you don't even know what I mean when I'm talking about practicing Qigong on an internal level, well, that's super important, and that's going to be the real reason you're not getting the results that you need. So these things, your dosage, the quality of your practice, how much you enjoy your practice, that would go in there with quality. These things matter far more than, cutting and pasting different exercises into your routine. You can do that. And, of course, I let my students do that. I basically teach them a lot of different exercises and then let them pick and choose. And here's what I've found over the years that works better than either of us trying to select the exercises. And I've written about this as well. Just choose your favorites. You're actually using your intuition when you choose your favorites like that. And your intuition has a lot of wisdom. You're tapping into deeper aspects of your mind, not just using your frontal cortex and your monkey mind. When you choose favorite Qigong exercises, you're really tapping into something beautiful there. And what I've found is that students who take my advice, practice, keep the quality high, and choose favorites, they get much, much better results than students who constantly worry about which exercise to practice for their specific condition. So that's my advice on this large topic that keeps coming up. It's not to say that there aren't exercises that might be ideally better for you. There may be, but that's just one of the least important things we need to worry about in Qigong. With Qigong, it's hard to practice just because it's hard to keep that, even though it's so enjoyable, it's just hard for a lot of people to develop the daily habit. And then even if they do develop the daily habit, it's hard to keep the quality high. It's introspection, it's a form of meditation, it's very different than what most of us do in our daily life. So that's a big challenge. Focus on those things. Focus on the internal aspects of Qigong, and you will start to see the results that you really want, the results that you deserve from practicing something like Qigong. So that's my little rant for today. I hope that was clear. I hope I clarified some things about, Qigong and how holistic it is, or how holistic it can be. And if you have any questions, as always, you can let me know in the comments. Ooh, where are we here? Are we back to my, hold on. Yes, okay, so here. I got a little lost there, but here we are. This little picnic bench here. And then there is my camper van. That's my house. That's where I'm staying. So we just went in a little loop and came in the back way. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I hope I gave you a better understanding, or a different angle for understanding this, this complex topic of matching specific Qigong exercises to specific problems. If you have any comments, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I always prefer this to be a discussion back and forth as best as we can using the technology. So leave me a comment, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next Walk and Talk.